I lift this?
Probably not. Please don't try.
Just have to get it from the top.
No, you can't.
What's it for?
It's the motor. What do you mean, what is it for?
It don't look like a motor.
So today we'll be rebuilding the top end of this motor. We're going to install the SIEBENROCK 1000cc big bore kit, the rebuilt R100 heads, new peanut covers, new clutch, and the SIEBENROCK oil pan extension. So the first thing I'm going to do is bolt the motor down to the workbench here so I can install these items without it flipping and moving around on me. To remove the connecting rod bolts, you're going to need a M10 triple square bit socket.
So here we have the new connecting rod bearings. There's a little indent there. You just line it back up. It'll slip back together. When you reinstall them, the pins go to the front of the motor.
For assembly, we use this Permatex assembly loop.
We'll also be replacing the connecting rod bolts with new bolts. So now we want to tighten the connecting rod cap bolts to 35 to 38 foot-pounds. Just want to make sure that this moves freely and nothing's bound up. Also works the grease around.
That'll work. I felt like an idiot and I wouldn't be telling you the story. It'll benefit me.
Alright. Let's seal. So here we got the rings and seals, instructions.
So here we have the oil ring that goes on the bottom, the second ring, and the top ring.
You just have to spread it and try not to damage anything getting it down there. This one has a spring in the middle. It's kind of tricky. So the opening to the rings, you want to stagger them so that there are no gaps over one another. Alright, and now we need to put in the clip. We're going to install the pushrod tube oil seals.
So here I'm using a standard ring compressor to compress the rings so that we can tap them into the cylinder. It's a little easier to do it here than anywhere else in this process. Just want to make sure you use something soft to tap the piston down so you don't damage it. Also note that the piston has an arrow on the top of it that faces towards the exhaust of the cylinder head, or the front of the motor. Here I'm using some high temp RTV sealant on the base gasket. For the installation of the jug, you want to have the piston sticking out a bit so that you have access to install the connecting rod pin. Give you a little room, and then you can get the connecting rod pin clip into place. Now we're going to go ahead and slide the jug back. You can get it back most of the way, but the oil seals are going to prevent you from seating it completely. So we'll have to tighten down the head to get that to seat. These are the rebuilt R100 heads. They have the kibble white valve springs, valves, and valve spring retainers. Now I'm installing a new set of push rods. This motor didn't come with any head or push rods or jugs, so we had to purchase these new. So here I'm installing the flywheel. You want to make sure that the motor is set to top dead center with the pistons, and then line up the OT, which is top dead center on the flywheel, to the viewport on the case. On the viewport it'll have a little notch, and you can see the OT through the hole. Now we're installing the new flywheel bolts. You want to make sure that you replace these with new bolts if you've taken it off. This is the new clutch diaphragm spring, the new clutch pressure plate, the new clutch plate, and clutch compression ring. This is the clutch release and removal tool. You'll want to install 3 of these evenly spaced into the clutch so that you can preload the clutch so that you can get the shorter actual clutch bolts installed. Once 3 of those are installed, you can remove the tools and then install the clutch bolts. This is a clutch alignment tool. You want to install this before you start to tighten anything up, and this will make sure that your clutch plate is aligned with your clutch. For the clutch bolts, you want to tighten those down to 17 pounds. I'm going to go ahead and install the valve cover, or the peanut covers. The valves still need to be adjusted, but I'm going to wait until I install the motor into the bike and get the ignition set up, and then set those valves. So here I'm removing the oil pan. We're going to add the SIEBENROCK oil pan extension. The extension allows you to add 3/4 of a quart more to your engine. This will keep the engine cooler and reduce the number of cycles on the oil. It's just better all around, just keep things cool. On the later models, the 80s, I think you have to modify the center stand to get it to clear, but on our bike here, we should be fine, and we shouldn't have to modify anything. So with the kit, you will have new hardware to make up for the spacer, and a new pickup spacer, and 2 gaskets for the pickup. So now I'm going to remove the wire strap and the grate so I can get to the bolts to remove the oil pickup so I can add the spacer. The kit includes longer bolts for this. It has a few. You need to see which one matches the stick out once you add the spacer. Now we're just going to reinstall everything back how it was, and you can see that the pickup has now been moved down to match the oil pan that's also been moved down. So with the extender, you're going to need 2 gaskets. One will go on top and one will go on the bottom. Just normal oil pan gaskets will be fine. In this case, we're actually using high temp silicone gaskets, and they're about 2.3 millimeters thick, and they should take up any variations in the motor without needing additional silicone. So you want to tighten the oil pan bolts to 80 inch-pounds. You want to be careful with these, they're easily stripped. And while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and replace the oil pan drain bolt with the magnetic one.